Hello, welcome everyone. Today we're going to be delving a bit into the world of technical leadership, especially when it comes to challenges and expectations to technical leads. This is actually a really important topic in Appsilon because as Shiny and technology in general continues to evolve, the role of technical leads are actually something that is more and more critical to ensure the success of projects that we do. Um, However, this is a role that actually comes with its own set of challenges and expectations. So today I'm joined by Anya, Jakub, Marcin, and Paweł, uh, all of us from Epsilon, so it's a bit of an in-house group, uh, as we discuss just whole sorts of different challenges that technical leads face, and also maybe talk a bit about the strategies that we use or that maybe we can use in the future to actually fight this. So a bit about Anna, and I'm sorry, Anna Skrzydło, close enough, I hope. Anna is a IT project manager, business analyst, and our Shiny developer for over 8 years. She has experience leading software and data science projects, facilitating workshops, and applying analytics to solving business problems. You can find her as a regular speaker around different conferences, including YR and Data Science Summit. So welcome, Anna. Uh, we also have Jakub Nowicki. Jakub is a staff engineer at Appsilon. He leads our open source initiative and has been working with R and Shiny for over 10 years and with me for almost five. I think recently LinkedIn actually sent me a you should recognize the time that you've been working with Jakub. Jakub's background is actually in paleontology. He was I remember when we met, it was really weird to see a paleontologist that was actually an R developer. The funny thing is he actually wrote his PhD thesis about Cambrian trilobites, and there's a really fun presentation that I remember he gave about this. And he's also the author of several different papers on the topic. So welcome, Jakub. Next, we have Marcin, Marcin Dubel. He's a staff engineer in Appsilon. You might have recognized him from early in the morning when he was also giving a presentation. Uh, his main focus right now is on establishing and implementing best practices in Appsilon projects, what we kind of in-house call Appcraft. Before joining Appsilon, he also worked as a Shiny developer and a consultant for a pharmaceutical company. I imagine one of the big ones. His academic background is in statistics and economics, and he's generally interested in improvements in the process of software development, and he enjoys sharing his knowledge with other teams and the public in general, as we saw before. And finally, we have Paweł Rzymkiewicz. Paweł is the head of engineering in Epsilon. He works together with our engineering leadership team to grow our engineering culture and drive scaling our team to meet the needs of our clients, which is a very, very nice way of putting it. He also has background in computer science and was actually involved in a lot of different roles, including software development, QA engineer, Scrum Master, before actually settling in this idea of growing engineering teams as a manager. So welcome everyone. I can see that there's already quite a few people in chat. Feel free to say hi, maybe post any questions you'd like. So like I said, we'll be mostly talking about technical leadership and specifically in our case in Shiny projects. I maybe will just kick off with a question and I will leave the floor a bit to you. So since we're talking about challenges, what do you think are actually the biggest challenges that technical leads face in their daily basis?
I can go with that. As this Appcraft representative, I need to say that it's about assuring quality in the projects. However, in a little bit different mode that you can expect. So the tech leads cannot just like jump in and said that, okay, we don't have enough tests. It's more about being a role model for the whole team. So you will be joined as a tech leader with the team that is less experienced. So they will look up to you. and they will follow your steps. And you need to do this on a daily basis, that you are actually showing them with your like natural way of working, how you are assuring this quality, how you are writing code, how you are doing the code reviews, are you writing your tests, or what are you paying attention to during talking with client. Something that it comes kind of like naturally, and you need to be like constantly aware that you are in this role model position and you are observed. And this is stressful a little bit.
So always on the spotlight, basically. Anyone else? Any other challenges that you can think of?
So I think I can add to this, because I think that the challenge in being tech leader is that you need to combine those two, so technical expertise and being a leader. And naturally, tech leaders grow from tech experts, so this is what they like acquire naturally and what they like thrill at doing. But then at one point, there is whole another set of skills that they are required to have, and actually acknowledging that and being able to find the right balance when you are work on a project and you are a tech leader, and you need to balance that being a tech expert and the leader. So when you see a most difficult task in a board, as a tech expert, naturally you just jump right into it and solve it. But as a leader, you probably need to make other team member successful in dealing with this task. And this is much more difficult, because first you need to spot it, and then actually helping others achieve success rather than just solving a task is just much more difficult, I think.
Great, thank you. Paweł, Kuba, any thoughts?
Yeah, maybe kind of a not a usual challenge, but the one that I face a lot is when you are a tech leader, you sometimes end up in a place where you have to be a tech leader for multiple projects. And it would be a perfect world if you could be for Monday and Tuesday project leader or tech leader in project A, for project B, for the rest of the week. But it is not. It is project 1, project 2, project 1, project 2, project 3, project 4, and so on. And you need to be able to switch your context all the time and be productive in that. Be help to your team members. So yeah, this is something I recently have a lot.
Paweł?
Yeah, that's a very good challenge, I think, that you mentioned, Jakub. I hope that for the most of our tech leaders, maybe they don't have the same challenge because they are able to focus on one project, but because of your unique position as a staff engineer as well, you are challenged more in that aspect. And I completely feel that, and I understand that. What I would add to, so first of all, I agree with everything that you said, and what I would add to that is that this tech leadership role being this multi-faceted role, if you will, where you have a focus on working with the client and being a partner to our client first to make sure that the client can meet their goals with the team, and that the team that you're leading as a tech lead meets the quality standards, but also other requirements that the client would like the team to meet. So the things, things are on time, things are beautiful to a certain extent, and coordination of all of these things together with also being a mentor at the same time to the team members that are not quite the tech leads yet, and you're working with together, providing code reviews in a way that is constructive, but at the same time is challenging and is allowing others to grow. And so kind of, all of these different aspects, combining them together is quite a challenge, I would say. Maybe one thing I would like to add is also to what you said, Pedro, that this is a key role and a very important one at Appsilon, because for every project that we run, every project that is going on, we need a tech lead to be in place. And this is why we strive for also internally to grow our team and individual contributors, individual team members coming from different levels, not quite the tech lead levels yet, to become those tech leads. And we have quite a few initiatives that we're doing. And in fact, Pedro is leading one of these initiatives, the key one called Road to Tech Lead. I hope we will have a little bit more time to discuss it also in this meeting today.
Yeah, probably yes. I think Road to Tech Lead, it also covers a lot about this journey of first you need to learn the theory, and then you need to learn how to. There's this saying, if you cannot do teach. I think it's not really the case when it comes to tech leads. You do need to know how to do, but you also need to know how to teach. And this comes with a bit of additional pressure, but at the same time, it definitely comes with a lot of recognition. It has a sense of fulfilling when you actually pass some kind of knowledge, and you see people becoming better because of you. So I definitely agree in this part of being a role model, being a mentor. Yeah, even though I think a lot of what we mention here when it comes to challenges is related to a bit soft skills, which also makes sense because tech leads come from a technical background. So even though things like assuring quality is definitely technical, at least at some point, a lot of these challenges are actually soft skills, or they seem to be very much soft skills. Yeah. So with this in mind, what do you actually consider to be some of the most important skills that a tech lead needs to be successful? And we did touch a bit on it right now. And to avoid the silence, I will start, Paweł. I think you can start because you're last question. You were last, so you can be first.
I will be happy to start, but I think Marcin wanted to go ahead, so I will also be happy to go next. Marcin, would you like to start?
Okay, I just heard some silence, so I thought that I will step in. What you're saying, Pedro, that these soft skills, how important they are. I always consider the crucial skill for a tech leader is the ability to make decisions. And this is not so obvious that people can make decisions that will affect others and take the responsibility for those, and also explain them in a way that you will get the buy-in from the client, from the team, that you will present this in a good way, and you will also like incorporate all the knowledge and help that you might get. And we talk a lot about like the technical expertise. Of course, it depends how your team is structured, but I can even imagine that the tech lead is not the most skillful person in the team, but the one that will make good decisions, judge them correctly, split the work, and like decide who will do which work and where to get help, and will organize this technical side the best because of the soft skills. So also like admitting that I don't know that, I need help from that team member or the other team member, they will do it better. It's also a tough thing to do and make a decision that, yeah, I'm not skillful enough.
Yeah, and I think at some point even knowing how to use the strengths of the team you have. I think this is also important, because just because you know how to do something doesn't mean that you need to do it. It means that you should find the right person to do it. I think this is also something very important to, when you're a tech lead, to actually be able to do that recognition, be able to actually pick the right person for the job. Everyone else, more skills.
Yeah,
more skills.
maybe it's to add to this is that sometimes you even can go with that much further and pass this decision making to someone in your team to empower this person and to help such person become a tech leader in the future. Of course, this should be done with your guidance and with your help, but maybe this is sometimes the case that should happen.
This is a great point, Jakub. I think it's a very strong, it's a huge opportunity in the way the technical leadership is carried out during the project, because in a negative scenario, let's say, I can imagine it can be done in a way that it's actually a turnoff for the team to work with a tech lead that is, for example, taking all the most difficult or most interesting work on their own. And just letting a very simple tasks being done by others, and maybe mundane and boring at the same time. And then when making the decision, not involving others in any way in making the decision, but just making the decision on their own. And I think what we're looking for in the tech leads, in the ideal case, in the ideal scenario, is for the technical leader to be facilitating the decision making in a way that's inspiring to others in the team, that's engaging the team members, and hopefully also using the brain power of everyone in the team to be able to get all of the ideas up, kind of in a visible place, discuss them, and make the best decision according to the certain need of the project, because it is rarely, or I would dare to say never, a best solution in general. It is always a solution that we're looking for in relation to the problem that we're trying to solve. So the ability to facilitate that sort of decision-making process, engaging the team, and then finally making the best decision out of all of the proposals that come up, I think this is it's difficult, but also a very important skill for a tech lead to master. And just to underline or highlight what you said as well, Jakub, about the opportunity to train another person on the team to get them to that next level. I think the tech lead is in a unique position to understand the current stage of development of each team member that they work with, and encourage them to be involved in the work that will be a progression for them. So the tech lead is really in a very good, if not the best position, to guide the progression of the person on the project. And it is also one of the ways in which we are actually training our tech leads now in Road to Tech Lead program as well, but a very important point nevertheless.
Yeah, this mentorship, there's this idea of forged by fire, forged by combat, where there's no better way of learning to learn on the job. And the truth is, if you're not a tech lead, but you're in a project and you're close to being a tech lead, most likely you're working with a tech lead. So there's no better moment to actually learn the ins and outs of being a tech lead than when you actually have someone that has some experience in it, who can actually guide you through some of these more painful parts. Anna, any skill that you think, or better yet, what do you think is one of the most important skills for tech lead?
So I would generally sum up this conversation that we had, that this is like everything that allows you better, more smoothly, and more efficiently work with people. Because I completely agree with what Marcin said, that the tech lead doesn't necessarily need to be the most technically experienced person in the team, because I think there is like a certain level of tech expertise that you need to have to become a tech lead. But like everything above that, it doesn't make that big difference. So like if you like hit this bar, and this bar is of course high for a tech lead, but once you hit it, then what would really differentiate a tech lead from very successful tech lead is that people skills.
Oh, so I see. I just got a ding from one of the. So I learned that we can add people. So I'm going to add 2 people that are actually in the audience and would like to join discussion. Yes, there's a guardian angel sending me messages right now. So I'm not sure if I did it correctly, but We'll see if
I
someone pops
don't
up.
see anyone at it.
Yeah, I also don't. So maybe
Technology is hard.
yes. Okay,
Maybe you
so
shouldn't
I
be a
see.
tech lead here.
I see a few names, but then they disappear. I'm actually not sure if I did something wrong. If someone would like to join and knows how to join. Oh, I see Eric. Eric did manage to join.
Figured why not?
Hi, Eric.
Yeah, I mean, this has been a great discussion. I do have a couple of questions. I don't know if I want me to ask them now or wait for.
Yeah, sure. So I think we covered two of the big questions. There's no way we're gonna finish the list that we had, so we might as well just wing it and go for the discussion.
Yeah. So my situation is first the comment earlier about being a tech lead or similar role on multiple projects. That's unfortunately my world. So I do feel sometimes like I'm not giving enough attention to another project that kind of ebbs and flows in priority and maybe different solutions that require a different skill set to really understand the trade-offs of going in different routes and different people we have to consult with. So that's a continuing learning process for me, is how to best manage that. But one more tangible challenge I want your perspective on is that for some of my projects, I'm actually what we call the system owner of. Like, I'm the one that in the end is leading the entire project. And then I just so happen to be the lead developer on it at the same time, because guess what? They're usually Shiny apps with R on the back end. And then I'll have a tech lead that unfortunately just isn't as up to speed on the nuances of the things I'm recommending or I'm actually developing. So I guess, what are your recommendations to give them just enough information to really have a better grasp of the things I'm recommending and why I'm pushing for certain directions, and then trying to get help when I need to integrate with other areas in the business, like an IT org for maybe a cloud resource or another, maybe data warehouse I need to interact with. Just trying to balance that role of leading the project, but also bringing someone who is supposed to be the tech lead into learning more about the technical stack that I'm actually using in my project. I know it's kind of loaded, but I'd love to hear thoughts on that.
Any takers? I think I can maybe start. So I feel like the main question here is how do you know, how can you delegate something and still be able to trust that they do a good job and
That's
that they
definitely
get
part of it.
the results that you want?
Mhm.
I think a lot of this also comes from just so as a product owner. So internally we typically call it product owner.
Yeah,
so basically
same idea.
you will get the final say on, is something good enough.
Correct.
The best way I think that you can make people know what to expect is to have a very, very good a very detailed list of things that you want, the requirements of what you want.
Yep.
And a lot of it comes from just organizing the tasks, organizing the things that need to be built, but in a way that you know what is the deliverable that you want, that you know what is what they need to know, what people will deliver to you as a set. If you want something done, here's the list of the things that I want done, and if you check all the boxes, then I will be happy and I will accept this. I don't know if someone else has a different view on this. And
I think I can probably add to that in a role of tech leader, it's inevitable that you will need to accept trade-offs, that when you are not doing something, it won't be done perfectly as you imagine it, and you need to accept and learn how to accept the fact that you won't be able to do everything in the project by yourself, like the very perfect way that you want, but you will delegate. Other people will do the stuff, and it might not be as good as you are doing that. And so that's the one thing that you need to learn. But also your job is kind of like to create a system that will support them to deliver that on a level expected. So what Pedro is mentioning, like how you are organizing more the system rather than each specific task that will support them. So usually for our projects, we have a definition of done for every project that needs to be checked during the review. Other roles that you should discuss with the team to spot when there is like inefficiencies in the system that are not allowing everyone to perform at the level expected.
Mm-hmm. And if I may add to that, Eric, I think maybe something in a way similar to what you described is something that we would call at Appsilon a stretch challenge. And that happens that happens a lot, that we recognize a potential in a person, but they've never done a specific role before. In that case, a technical leader role, for example. And we say, okay, are you ready for a stretch challenge? So try your first time being a tech lead. And yes, so if the answer is yes on the person's side, I really like the comment from that Pedro made, that it's really important to have very verbose expectations agreed with the person, especially when they're doing it the first time. What are the things that we expect them to do? But then if they need to learn as part of the role, there is a risk that they might fail. And I think it's just part of a natural process of growing and allowing people to take these risks at the right moment, so kind of when they're ready. And this is more of a decision made by you or made by us in this case, like, okay, is that person, in our opinion, ready to take that risk right now? Is this project not too challenging from any perspective, technical perspective, collaboration perspective, client, business perspective, if you will? And also what we do to help tech leaders on their first job as a tech lead is to have a trusted advisor being part of the project. So in our case, that would be staff engineer, that could be Marcin, that could be Pedro, that could be Jakub, joining the project part-time, and then noticing the key deficiencies when they happen and letting the tech lead know what they should do to improve in a given situation. Again, helping them with that stretch challenge, helping them to do their job well the first time they're doing it.
Yeah, and maybe I would add one more point here, which is I think managing expectations is also a really big deal. There's the saying, expect the best, prepare for the worst.
Yes.
I think building software and managing all of this can be a bit like that. It sometimes is a bit of a war of attrition. There's a lot of stuff we didn't have time to cover, but in your case, being the developer and the client, sometimes you have some advantage because you know what both sides are thinking at the same time. But in most projects, this is even another layer of complexity that we need to add. So
of course,
managing this complexity both internally with the team, but managing these expectations both internally with the team and externally with the clients, I think is also something that fits very much into the role of a tech lead. And just to give you some peace of mind of how big of a challenge this is, in Appsilon we have an entire department dedicated to delivery. So all of these things are part of the plan of delivery that we usually come up with, which includes a bit tech lead as well, but also all of this layer of what is the delivery, what can we consider a good delivery. And I know that Anna can probably talk a bit more about this, but we're down to 1 minute, so I don't know if we'll have too much time. Final thoughts. Tech leads, good, bad, would you recommend?
My final thought, Pedro, is that this is a really deep topic, and I think we could use even another session to get into some of the additional details. It's great for you, Eric, to join and come on stage and join the discussion with us. Thanks a lot for that. And I'm hoping also for others in the chat to be involved with questions. We will be very happy to follow up after this panel as well, and remain engaged, answer your questions. Also share, how we train tech leads at Appsilon. How can one become a tech lead, grow into that role? So hopefully we'll have an opportunity for these conversations as well.
I think there's still time for one final plug. Join the ShinyConf Slack. Maybe post some questions there. Tag a couple of the people you saw here. Maybe you'll get an answer. Just keep poking, and we'll make sure to come back at you. And worst case, maybe next year for the next conference, we'll actually have an even larger panel for dedicated tech leadership.
Thank you so much.
So thank you so much for everyone. Thank you, Eric, for the cameo. And enjoy the rest of the conference. There's still a couple of stuff going on today. You can probably go to the main stage. It's probably starting already. And enjoy the rest of the week.
Thank you, and thank you, Pedro, for leading this panel.
Thank you. See you.
Take care.
Bye.